Dreaming English, where we are teaching English in a very natural way, with no boring grammar, with games and drawings and pictures and stories. And we just want to make it so that people can learn English naturally.
We're going to use some hand gestures as well. So I might say that the boy said, or I saw you, or I was thinking. When people ask me, how long have you studied Spanish? I've studied Spanish way longer than I wish to admit. I first studied Spanish when I was a young girl. I studied in school. I would study, and then I would take the test. And sometimes I got a good grade. But sometimes I didn't. And often after the test, I would forget everything I learned. What I learned would slowly disappear. When people ask me how long I've been studying Spanish, if I was to measure it in years, who knows, 20 years. But the best way to think about how long you've been studying Spanish is not by how many years you've been studying the language, but by how many hours. How many hours did you actually study the language? Did you study it for 100 hours? 500 hours? Maybe 1,000? And research over the past few decades, so this is 1 year, so times 10 times 20, so actually for the past couple decades, so for the 2000 to 2019 research with the internet, with colleges and universities, with academic writing, has shown that the best way to learn a language is actually not by studying the grammar and by listening for hundreds of hours, thousands of hours. Our ability to listen, and by listening for hundreds of hours, for thousands of hours, our ability to blow up our confusion of the language will change, and we will slowly be able to understand and speak fluently, and other people will be able to understand us. And our ability to understand the vocabulary and the grammar will just come naturally. Just as it did when we were babies learning our native language. This method is called Comprehensible Input method. It's by listening and by watching that we're able to learn this language.